Upon the note that I will not let this podcast die, I will be going voice recording once again, like old times, because my internet is down, and I will have to look up the Raw results because I don't remember every little thing, but it was definitely a good Raw with quite the main event, and I'll get into that for sure. So, welcome everybody to the Eduardo Asylum. If you're on Twitter and you would like to follow me on there, follow me on Twitter at eJose98. If by any chance you would like anything discussed on the show, please email me at eddylynch16@gmail.com, EDDYLYNCH16@gmail.com. Cannot be any more clear than that. Please, I would love to discuss something for anybody besides a Raw review. Not that I don't enjoy it, but, you know. Anyway, tonight's show opens up with John Cena, and I thought him coming out and giving the shirt to the little kid was sweet, and, you know, that was really cool and all of that. He had an interaction with Elias. Sorry, I'm still fixed on, well, basically that main event. But, Elias and Cena had a not too bad of a segment here. I can't help but think to myself that this whole segment, including the match that followed, pretty much endorsed Elias, right? So Elias comes out talking about sick of getting interrupted by people. What does he get greeted with? CM Punk chants, to his delight, of course. And he hates it, of course, and he actually acknowledges CM Punk in his promo. Now, I'm sure he probably got heat from it. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think, he shouldn't, but, anyway. He acknowledged CM Punk, so good on him for knocking down the CM Punk chants. Bad on John Cena, and I said this on Twitter as well, bad on John Cena for re-encouraging the CM Punk chants. And throughout the rest of his promo, he was greeted with the CM Punk chants, and he even looked towards John and told him, "This is your fault." And I kind of laughed a little to myself when he said that. As corny as this segment was, with John Cena interrupting interrupting Elias to sing more lively and be more positive, as corny as this segment was, I honestly found myself really enjoying it for the fact that John Cena and Elias did really have some surprising chemistry together, even though, you know, it was more of a child-friendly segment. It was still one that was pretty enjoyable. He sang a little tune for the crowd. He was more positive the second time around, of course. And then he told John Cena to take it away, to which John Cena, and you could easily see where this was going, John Cena was about to sing Merry Christmas to the Chicago crowd, and Elias blasts him with this right hand, and it looked kind of lame, I'm going to be honest with you. He hit him really soft, honestly, and I thought, man, that guitar spot would have been so much cooler. I don't know if that was just me setting myself up for failure with my expectations, but yeah, I thought the little knockdown punch, it was cool because the visual of John Cena getting knocked down by one punch from a mid-carder, it's a rarity, to be honest with you. But it still doesn't diminish how weak that punch looked, in all seriousness. So he proceeded to stomp on John Cena and then challenged him to a one-on-one match, and this was quote-unquote impromptu. To which this match was mostly Elias working John Cena. This was, as I would call it, a 2010 John Cena match where he takes the damage for 90% of the match. Although I will admit this was a more engaging match than those of what he would have in 2010. I really liked seeing the offense that Elias provided here. Also, one thing I kind of wanted to mention here, and I don't know if this was the reason Elias had so much offense in, but Cena, he looks really underconditioned. And I don't know if that's just me, but I saw him do one hip toss, and the guy's face was already red, and he looked gassed. And like, I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, well, honestly, I kind of am surprised because the guy has taken time off before and has proven to still be in good ring shape. This was a surprise to me because it's just so rare to see John Cena underconditioned. And I don't know that he was selling it, because why would he sell it after one hip toss? And why so early in the match at the same time? At least with AJ Styles, it made sense because Cena was away from the ring for a little while, and I'm referring to their Money in the Bank match. But here, yes, it would make sense, but it just seemed to me like he was legitimately under condition. So I hope when he does come back, he'll be in better ring shape. He's in good shape, but this just kind of looked a little bit bad. Anyway, after all the offense from Elias, Cena would eventually counter. He hit his best looking STF that I have seen in years. Honestly, the best one I've ever seen. This one was a lot more impressive, and he hit him twice with the STF, and I honestly thought Elias was going to tap at one point, which I was kind of hoping not, and I was glad he didn't. But after that, Cena hit him with the attitude adjustments, and 1, 2, 3, Cena was your winner. And yeah, it was still a good match. I do really like that Elias had a lot of offense in here. Again, what Cena's conditioning had as a factor into that, I don't know. But still, Elias still had some really cool moments. He had a really cool electric chair power bomb. So yeah. I think Elias had a hell of an endorsement for an opening card match and promo. So good for him. I think he definitely has the potential to be a Intercontinental Champion somewhere into 2018, and hopefully even a challenger for the Universal title. Even though I don't really give a rat's ass about the title, I think the fact is, I think a lot of people will do. Enough people care about that title for them to say, hey, he might be world champion, so good for him. So yeah, I'd be up for that. Next, let's see, we had a segment with Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins. Lo and behold, it was I thought the chemistry between these two, the dialogue was really enjoyable. It came off really unscripted, and I'm sure it was to some degree. I would not be surprised, but honestly, I thought these two managed to make it work to where they sounded unique in their own voice, and the dialogue was great. So Kurt Angle paired them off into a tag team match for the WWE Raw Tag Team titles against The Bar. And Jason Jordan vehemently disagrees with Kurt Angle on this issue and tells him, I just got out of a tag team on SmackDown. I don't want to be taking a step backwards. Rollins takes great umbrage to this, and he says, oh, you really consider me a step backwards? And he calls him arrogant, and he was going to proceed to tell him a lot more. Kurt Angle cuts him off. Kurt Angle tells him, all right, get to focus on their match, because if they don't focus on this match, they are not going to face Samoa Joe, because that's basically the stipulation here. They're supposed to get to The Bar first and then get to Joe. At least that's how Kurt rationalized it, because everywhere Joe is, The Bar is over there stopping him. So, it makes sense, even though he kind of has it backwards, but but I mean, hey, Who cares? Roman Reigns pops up, and Kurt tells him, you got Samoa Joe tonight, and it's for the Intercontinental title. And Roman didn't say anything. Or I guess I'm not wrong, because his name really is Joe, but we'll call him Roman, because kayfabe. Anyway, Roman just didn't say anything, and he just walked off, patted Kurt on the back, on the shoulder, and honestly, I think the match that they had later was a pretty good match too, and I'll get into that too. Next, we got Brian Kendrick and Hideo Itami. Before this match, Brian Kendrick had a pre-match interview. He mocked some of the things that were said. I believe one of them was a pretty funny one where he said, so he's so menacing that he can stare at you and it'll haunt your nightmares or something like that. I don't remember, but it was such a cheesy line. It actually sounded kind of badass the way he delivered it. And I don't think it was I don't think that was the intent of that, but he actually made it sound pretty cool. But anyway, Brian Kendrick just said, he just kept rattling off a bunch of stuff about Hideo Itami to where Hideo cut him off with his music, comes out, and he pretty much opens a flurry on Brian Kendrick throughout this match, and they had a really good one. It was pretty back and forth. I won't say it was 50-50. I would say it was more 60-40. 60 being on Hideo's side here. I think a lot of the offense of Hideo Itami was really impressive here. He really got over with the crowd here. Once the GTS was summoned, you could very, very faintly hear the crowd starting to go, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And I was disputing this with a fan, by the way. Here is the problem with the CM Punk chants. Alright, that people who don't necessarily agree with the CM Punk chants needing to stop. Now, me personally, I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me because really, it doesn't annoy me. I always say fans pay good money to chant whatever the hell they want. I think the beach ball is a little too much, but I think the problem here with the CM Punk chants, the reason it needs to stop is because when you're chanting this, right, the crowd has a tendency to disengage, right? Or that's how it's perceived. They're disengaging from this match. And the ones who suffer from this are the wrestlers, right? Think about when The Miz said, when you guys chant, you both suck at Roman Reigns and John Cena, that doesn't affect those two. That affects me. See, that affects The Miz, right? When you guys chant CM Punk at Cesaro, for example, having a match with, I don't know, Tyler Breeze, right? When you guys chant something like that, that doesn't make management think, hey, these two need to get pushed. That makes them think quite the opposite. These two are clearly boring the crowd. These two are failing at entertaining. So when you look at it like that, guess what's going to happen? Time is going to be taken away from them. Think about when the crowds were chanting Randy Savage, JBL, RVD, all that stuff during a Randy Orton Sheamus match, right? That also really pissed off Randy, and with good reason. With good reason. Now, granted, the match wasn't that great, and it's not like Randy was putting on stellar performances that year, but I can totally see why he wouldn't be pissed about that. Anyway, it's still a big problem for the wrestlers, right? And the crowd, yes, it's annoying for other crowds. I personally don't get annoyed by it. But, yeah, I think the CM Punk chants just need to end. They need to end. it's just not necessary anymore. Alright, it really isn't. But anyway, Hideo hit that GTS, and it looked devastating as all hell, especially in the replay, because it looked even more devastating. After the GTS, the CM Punk chants quickly stopped, and then Hideo Itami quickly got some cheers for a little bit, and I thought, cool. Next, we had Absolution versus Bayley, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks. And I gotta say something. We really need to stop with this six-woman nonsense. I mean, what happened to building a storyline? Like, honestly, it was just a couple of months ago. Really. It was just months ago, a couple of months ago, that Mickie James and Alexa Bliss had a program together where they didn't face off every single week, but they had a program together. They were building a storyline without having a match every single week, and they delivered an awesome program. It was just about 6 or 7 months ago that Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi, and Becky Lynch had an amazing program, an even better program, arguably, where both their feuds intertwined with each other, but it made sense for the storyline, and they didn't have, Becky and Mickie, or Becky and Alexa, or Nikki and Naomi, or Mickie and... Anyway, they didn't have that happening every single week. They had 1 week having some promos. They had 1 week, it's just enough already. Tell a story. The match itself, I didn't really pay too much attention to because, well, I've seen this 3 weeks in a row now, to be honest with you. I was not interested. I thought, I'm sure it was a good match. I don't remember a thing from it. I remember, what's her name? Sonya Deville. Now, people call Asuka the female Brock Lesnar. No, this is Sonya Deville here. She gave a Brock Lesnar-like lariat, a clothesline to Sasha Banks that just, oh my god, I would not be shocked to find out Sasha Banks had a concussion after that. I would not be shocked to find out if Sasha Banks lost a tooth after that. That was such a stiff clothesline. Right? There's a lot of impressive work from Sonya Deville. I'll give a lot of credit to that. Both Sonya and Mandy had a lot of offense in here, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think it was a good way to showcase them. Mandy was a lot more impressive than I thought, to tell you the truth. Like, honestly, I knew she was a better wrestler than Eva Marie. But, like, she was even better. She hit this really cool submission. I don't even know what to call it, to tell you the truth. But after that, we had the finish, and you know what? I'm just gonna skip to the finish. So Bayley hits the Bayley to belly, right? And Paige, she sells this like crazy. I think Paige is giving Sasha Banks a run for her money in terms of who sold the Bayley to belly the best. It was nice. But anyway, Sonya pretty much pulled Paige out of the ring. Try saying that 3 times fast. Paige gets gets a distraction attack from, I think, Mandy. And I think Paige and Bayley takes a rampage to pretty much takes a rampage for Paige to win. Next, we had Kane versus Heath Slater, and I gotta admit, Heath Slater is one easy person to get behind. Honestly, this is a dead on arrival little gimmick that they have going for them with with Rhino trying to toughen up Heath Slater. Reminds me of the old, we're gonna make everyone young great again. But anyway, Heath Slater got demolished by Kane. He had just about 10% offense in here. He had the typical couple punches and strikes and what have you. And then after that, he got demolished by Kane, right? Rhino comes in to help Kane, or not help Kane, to help Heath, check on him. Kane is sitting right behind him. Rhino gets up and turns around to Kane, putting him in the chokeslam position. Kane takes a few punches from Rhino. Rhino charges him up into the turnbuckle, goes for a gore, and here I was about to be excited because I haven't seen a gore in a little while, and I wouldn't mind if Kane did the whole sit-up thing, and then Kane would chokeslam him afterwards, but yeah, it's all good. Kane caught him before he could hit the gore, and then Rhino took a chokeslam, and thus leaving Kane to just break down Rhino, and yeah. After this, we had Kurt Hawkins versus Finn Balor. Let's be honest here. No disrespect to Kurt Hawkins, and I mean at all, but Finn Balor has already had matches, has already pretty much wiped Kurt Hawkins in May, plenty of times. Shouldn't he be by now facing top-tier talent now? Shouldn't he be having a storyline by now? Honestly, what happened to him wanting to get his Universal title? Is Finn Balor not over enough still? Maybe Kurt Hawkins is going to make him over. How? I don't fucking know. We got a commercial break from the Miz Taraj. They had one earlier. It kind of sucked, but this one was kind of funny. Not because of the Miz Taraj, but because of Goldust. So they started singing Miss carols. Can't believe I said that. They started singing carols to Goldust. Goldust reacted to this in quite the fashion that he would. He huffed and puffed and he seemed disturbed. They gave him a Christmas present with Santa's Little Helper, or I think that was the movie title. And Goldust looks over to Titus O'Neil. He gives him the copy of the DVD. It was a repackaging, and I thought that was hilarious. And then Titus is looking at it, and then Goldust just does that whole the in his face, or you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what to call it. The puff to Titus. Titus had the funniest reaction I had ever seen in my life. Out of everybody, I think Titus has had the best reaction to Goldust yet. And I think that's a very hard statement, bold statement I'm making, because, of course, Booker T, right? But anyway, it was hilarious, the whole thing. Next, we had Bray Wyatt cutting this promo on Matt Hardy, talking about Sister Abigail, saying she hated people similar to Matt Hardy. And then he said, "I'm here." Comes out, does his entrance. Matt Hardy pops up, attacks Bray Wyatt during his entrance. Well, I guess during the end of his entrance, because Bray was already at the ring by this point. Matt Hardy is beating him up, and he's about to give him a twist of fate. Bray Wyatt rolls out of the ring. And at this point, Matt is on the mic. He's laughing. He's just laughing maniacally at Bray. I think the whole laughing went on a little too long. Just a little bit. But I mean, I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me. I think it was just a little too long. But that's what kind of made it better, because Bray Wyatt's reaction, like, over the course of the segment, made it even funnier. and Matt Hardy would go on to scream, "Delete! Delete! Delete!" And that would end the segment. with a transition to the bar. And during the bar segment, you kept hearing Hardy chants, and I thought, man, that is just too awesome for Matt Hardy. Anyway, the bar are talking about Cesaro. They did a little bit of comedy here with Sheamus getting Cesaro a toy or present, and it turned out to be a Dean Ambrose action figure with the arm ripped off. Made light about that. I'm surprised there wasn't outrage over this, by the way. I mean, it was just a year ago. They made a whole fuss about the club ripping off a teddy bear head, right? And nobody makes a fuss about this. Man, that selective rage, everybody. But anyway, I thought that was a clever joke. Cesaro gets Sheamus a present too. He gets him a Seth Rollins action figure. I'm surprised they didn't rip off the leg because, his knee injury. Anyway, after that, he tells him, alright, I got you another present. Just dig deep inside. Sheamus has this very disgusted look on his face. There's the Jason Jordan action figure. He's like, I don't want this. Kind of describes the whole IWC for Jason Jordan. That doesn't include me, by the way. I'm actually a big Jason Jordan fan. And even more so now after tonight. But, Sheamus makes a reference, says, yeah, I don't want him. And then Cesaro very conveniently says, it's funny because Seth Rollins doesn't want him as a team partner and Kurt Angle doesn't want him as a dad. So I thought that was a funny line. So they did a good job with the humor here, I think. Okay. This is the note I wanted to mention here. And I'm just going to say this one time. Will Cesaro please, when he's going to speak, right, will he please just take off his stupid mouthpiece? I hate that stupid lisp. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. We go on to a backstage interview with Samoa Joe and Renee Young. And I wanted to make a little mention of this because I was just wondering if I was the only one who picked up on this. But Renee Young seems really, really uncomfortable talking to Samoa Joe. Like she just had this very uncomfortable look on her face. Now I don't know if she's mad at Joe because of the Ambrose injury or if they told her. But did anybody else pick up on this? Just wondering. Next we had Enzo Amore dressed as Santa Claus, and his two elves in the back being Drew Gulak and how did he describe? Feliz Navidari Davari. That was just amazing. Anyway, this was a street fight, as they called it, a 6-man tag street fight, a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Well, anyway, it was a lot of fast-paced action here. I think at one point they all did tope suicidas, and I thought that was really cool. Apart from that, I don't remember much. I believe Drew Gulak took the lumbar check for Cedric Alexander to win. I'm not sure. I don't really remember or care. But, yeah, I thought, cool for them. Next, we had a commercial with Enzo Amore and Nia Jax. And I gotta say, the crowd is surprisingly behind this more than I expected. I gotta say, I did not expect the fans to have as much enjoyment out of this segment. But Nia Jax and Enzo are underneath the mistletoe, and Enzo's about to kiss Nia Jax, and then Alexa interrupts, and the crowd just has a big just odd reaction. Right? I thought this was the funniest thing. Alexa tells her, okay, we have to strategize for the Royal Rumble, even though she's not going to be in the Royal Rumble. Alexa isn't anyway. And plus, why would she even want Nia Jax to face her at the Royal Rumble? I don't know. But yeah, they need to talk about the Royal Rumble, strategize. And Nia Jax just looks at her, he says, well, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And she leaves. Enzo had one funny last line here. He says to her, and I quote, "Merry Christmas to you too, Lexi." Man. Enzo's a pretty funny cat. I'll admit that much. So next we had the Intercontinental Championship match, and I thought this was a pretty good match. I thought this was a really good match. The ending kind of sucked. The finish sucked, to be honest with you, but it was a really good match throughout. It was very hard hitting between these two. I could not picture a more stiff match in WWE, that is. Looking anywhere else, look no further than New Japan, of course. But anyway, this was quite the striking match. It was a striking game between these two. In the end, Roman Reigns almost passed out to Samoa Joe. I kind of wish he did, to tell you the truth. I think it would have been a cool moment on Christmas, but who cares? Samoa Joe won by disqualification because Roman Reigns kept attacking him in the ring, and then Roman Reigns just went on full blast mode and just proceeded to beat down Samoa Joe, and there you go. Roman was just out of it. Roman was out of it and just destroyed Samoa Joe. So there you go. Next, we had the segment with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, and again, good dialogue between these two. Very unique, honestly. But anyway, Seth tells him to follow his lead, and Jason Jordan tells him, I'm excited to work with you, but I'd make a pretty good replacement for Dean Ambrose, don't I? Seth Rollins takes very great umbrage to this, and he tells him, you will never be Dean Ambrose. And Jordan tells him, I'll be even better. And the segment ends there. I think it's so obvious that they're going to turn this guy. It's not even funny. At least that was my thinking up until the main event. But I'll get to that after I get to this. The Miz Taraj come out with their Secret Santa match. And lo and behold, I knew exactly who was going to come out. But as well as they're pulling off the characters, like they're really doing 100% with these characters. These characters that they're playing absolutely suck. I hate the characters they're playing, honestly. I hate it. I genuinely do. I have no other words to say. I cannot express how much I hate it. But anyway, Braun Strowman interrupts them. Didn't see that coming. And he pretty much wipes them both out. The crowd was really hot for them. And this was the Chicago crowd, by the way. They were really hot for Strowman. I don't know how or why, but they really were. And I thought, cool, man. And I'll admit something. For as much as I don't care about Braun Strowman, I'll say one thing about Braun Strowman. He is very, very popular. And I think him getting the Universal title at the Royal Rumble would make for a pretty cool moment. The Royal Rumble is one of the big four, so the title changes don't happen. At least the world title changes don't happen as much at the Royal Rumble. So I think this one happening for the first time in how long? It would be a pretty cool moment. So at least for all the Strowman fans out there, which there are a lot. So I would say Royal Rumble would be a good time to have Brock Lesnar drop the title, And hey, at WrestleMania, you could do a triple threat. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman. That doesn't sound appealing to me, but it's better than Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, to tell you the truth. And hell, even more so, I think you could even have Roman Reigns versus Strowman. Just drop Brock Lesnar. And you could have Brock Lesnar have another match with somebody else, because nobody wants to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Right? Have the Brock Lesnar-Bray Wyatt match that everybody wanted to see. Have Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. And then, right on Brock Lesnar's way out, you have Paul Heyman turn on Brock Lesnar, and then Paul Heyman becomes the advocate for Samoa Joe. Right? There's so many different ways you could go with this. Now, that being if Brock Lesnar were to drop the title at Royal Rumble. I'm just saying. So next we had Alexa Bliss cutting a promo on the women's division in the Royal Rumble, and she started saying all this heartfelt crap that turned out to be, because right afterwards she went from this babyface-like promo to saying, "You're welcome for everything that I have done." And I gotta admit, Alexa Bliss, I think if she had a male counterpart in terms of promos and mic work, I think her counterpart is Bobby Roode. As a heel, these two are absolutely brilliant at doing this, where they make this very face-like promo, turn it into this very heelish and just this arrogant promo. And I think it's perfect. Yeah. Alexa Bliss, right? That's who she is. She's the female counterpart to Bobby Roode in terms of promo skills, right? And I hate doing comparisons, but I think but Bobby Roode is not a bad promo to be compared to. Now, anyway, she says, "You're welcome for punching through the glass ceiling." And she said, "Whoever wins, I've overcome literally every obstacle. This was one of my favorite lines that she said, I started 2017 the SmackDown Women's Champ, and I will end 2017 the Raw Women's Champ." I thought that was a great line right there. Asuka comes out, and I gotta say, I like the way that they edited her theme song to where you could hear the vocals more clearly now. I know it's not really relevant to what I'm about to say here, but I just wanted to add that in there. Asuka comes out, she says that I will win the Royal Rumble because nobody is ready for Asuka. And then she proceeds to kick the lights out of Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss did a great job in selling how scared she was of Asuka. It's not uncommon for Alexa Bliss to get the praise that she does over her facial expressions, but honestly, I just thought she did perfect here with the facial expressions, being concerned with Asuka. I personally think that if there's anyone to take the Royal Rumble to win it this year, I think Asuka could be the one this year. And if it's not her, then have it be Naomi or have it be Becky Lynch. Those three are the best picks to have him. And my reason is for this. Asuka, you have the story with her and Alexa, and I think these two can have a really good match together. And I know this because, look, I know they could build a good promo together. Because, let's face it, Alexa Bliss is pretty much the queen of promos right now. No disrespect to Charlotte. And she's had some really good matches as well. Now, I've made the criticism that she needs to work her in-ring work a little bit more, but that was back in April, and she has gotten a lot better since then. A lot better. So, Yeah, she does have her matches here and there where it'll wet the bed. Not too bad, but it won't be great. But look, I have yet to say this Alexa Bliss match was really bad. Now, I've come close to saying that. Don't get me wrong. Now, let me switch my attention from Alexa to Asuka. Asuka has some amazing matches. If you don't believe me, look at her match with Bayley. Both matches. If you don't believe me, look at her match with Nia Jax. She got a great match out of Nia Jax. If you don't believe me, look at her match with Mickie James. If you don't believe me, look at her matches with Emma. Right? And I don't mean the first two she had on the main roster, but of course those are two really good matches as well. I mean her match in NXT. That was also a great match. But anyway, my point being, Asuka and Alexa would be a great match for WrestleMania, and I think that would make Asuka a great pick for winning the Women's Royal Rumble. If not Asuka, then you also have Naomi, because Naomi last week had a really good promo, and she proved to be really over with the crowd. I mean, the crowd was on fire for Naomi. Right? And Naomi has had two really good matches with Charlotte after the shakeup. So that's been proven they could have some really good They have some really good chemistry together. Probably the most engaging, to tell you the truth. But I think the next woman I'm about to mention has just a one runner-up for her money, and that is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has the story set, right? These two are best friends. These two go a long way, right? And these two have yet to have had one straight-up singles match for a title without Becky Lynch being screwed. And this could also lead to Charlotte having a heel turn. Another heel turn. And I think Charlotte did a great job at her first run as a heel. Why can't she do a great job as a second? And so yeah, you have this great storyline that you could tell. You could book it amazingly. Becky Lynch is no slouch on the mic. And I know this because she's had two really good segments with Alexa Bliss. She's had a million amazing segments with Charlotte. So, yeah, I think you have a great storyline. So those are my three picks. Naomi, Asuka, or Charlotte. Nobody else should win the Women's Royal Rumble. Nobody else. Now next we had the main event here, and oh my god, there was just back and forth action here with Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins versus The Bar. So much action that I'm not even going to mention any of it, to tell you the truth. I'll mention one thing is Sheamus had a really cool stiff clothesline here. Cesaro had a devastating looking sharpshooter. Seth Rollins with his super kick, that always amazes me. The way he gets that much height. And Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan was just amazing all throughout. He put on an amazing show. And even though, yeah, he's considered the rookie, or as Michael Cole called him, the kid, I think he put on an amazing show here. There was just so much back and forth action between these four. It was so exciting, to tell you the truth. It was so engaging. It was just everything a main event should have been, right? Honestly, this was the match I was looking forward to. And honestly, I thought for sure they were going to lose, and I thought for sure Jason Jordan was going to attack Seth Rollins. And that wouldn't necessarily lead to Jason Jordan fully being heel, but that would just tease his heel turn more and more. So now the question is, where do you go with Jason Jordan? And the big rumor is that he will be officially replacing Dean in the Shield, or at least temporarily. And look, as much as this match was exciting, as much as this match was really star-making for Jason especially, I think it's just a bad idea. It's a really bad idea to have Jason Jordan replace Dean Ambrose. Because, look, as many great matches as you're going to have out of a Jason Jordan, he's got some shoes to fill in terms of the character and promos and performance. You know, and Jason, I know he has it in him to have some good promos, right? Here's what I've said. He doesn't have bad mic skills. He's just had bad segments. And there's a big difference between the two. Because, let's face it, this whole father-son storyline, with all the corny lines they've given him, you could have Ambrose say that, and it still probably wouldn't sound too great. You could have had pretty much AJ Styles be his son, and it still probably wouldn't have sounded too great. So, look, I think Jason Jordan is fitting into this role a lot more, a lot better, and I think the crowd, yes, are embracing him a little bit more, and especially after this performance. But it's just going to get that much harder every single week if you have him paired off as the honorary Shield member. I think him being the tag team champions, it was a mistake. But hey, Jason Jordan proved something, and I think, okay, good on them. What are they going to do about it, though? How are they going to handle this? Now we'll have to wait till next week. Overall, I thought it was a good Raw. I thought it was a really good Raw. Really enjoyed it. Hell, I managed to stay the whole 3 hours, to tell you the truth. That's more than I can say for most Raws. So, with that being said, really good Raw. I can't wait to record for SmackDown tomorrow. Good night, everybody.